You know, guys, Monday rant. I've not done one of these for a while, but this one is a particularly insidious one, and I wanted to wait until the court case come out, so I didn't have to keep saying allegedly. I hate fucking all that nonsense before I talked about it, and it was of the stabbing to death of Henry Nowak. 18-year-old student was stabbed to death by Vikram Digwa. He's been found guilty of murder, you know, so we don't have to keep saying allegedly and all that shite. Sorry for the bad language, but it's a particularly hideous story, and there's something that I want to talk about. And it's basically, when I say we live in clown world, and I've talked about this for years, what I mean by that is the inversion of everything that we knew, right and wrong, you know, it's been inverted. Men can become women, you know, up is down, good is bad, a complete inversion of normal morals, you know, traditions, everything gets inverted in a crazy sort of clown world way. With this case though, people are focusing on the wrong things, and this is why I wanted to make this video. Like with COVID, when all the MPs were partying and people were saying, well, why are they partying while we're locked up? They're breaking their own rules. You know, again, I was like, guys, you're focusing on the wrong thing. What the question you should be asking is, why do the politicians who know the most about this disease feel that it is safe to party? Because they know it's a load of nonsense about the COVID. So enough on that, but it's a very similar, you'll see where I'm going with this, guys, when I say people are asking the wrong question. Now, Vikram Digwa basically stabbed Henry Nowak to death with a religious blade. He's a Sikh, so he's allowed to carry a blade with him. Now, people are asking questions. You know, the questions are asking, should certain religions be given different, you know, laws by the police, etc., etc. You know, they're the things people are focusing on, like sort of the two-tier policing and the likes of that, guys. There was accusations, you see, that, so what happened was Vikram Digwa stabbed Henry Nowak to death, but he stabbed him when the police turned up. Vikram accused Henry of racism, so the police arrested Henry while he was bleeding out. So people are focusing on, well, did Henry say anything racist? Now, guys, when I say the question they should be asking, or the thing they should be looking at, we will never know whether Henry said anything racist. You know, these will all just be what ifs and buts. And the debate on whether certain religions should be able to carry, you know, a weapon if it is part of their religious dress. Again, these are things that will, some people will disagree and other people will agree with. But the thing that people are missing, and this is one thing that is a dead certain, is that Vikram understood the power structure of this country. He understood that he could use the word racism as this magic spell of a word where everything else would be considered less serious. So you can debate a lot of things, but you cannot debate that he understood, as you know, either like a first generation immigrant or just a minority, he understood the power that he had by using that word. Now, no one can debate that. He knew that when the police came, if he said that magic word, racism, they would get the other guy without looking into the fact on who had actually perpetrated the far worse crime. And this is because in this pathetic woke world, people have made racism the worst crime ever. Now, we need to dissect this. So what is, you know, what is racism? People will say, okay, well, it's treating one group unfairly than another group. Okay, so I could ask, you know, this is a thought experiment to get people thinking, because people don't think in this day and age. I could ask, okay, so if you treat a certain group fairly, is that still racism? Again, these are not per se my personal views, it's just to get people thinking, you know. So they say racism is, you know, a unjust way of treating people based on false accusations. Okay, well, what if it's based on life experience? What if it's based on real world experience? You know, these kind of things. Is it still racism? But anyway, we will go with the definition that racism is the unfair treatment of a particular group based on racial characteristics. Now, okay, so that could be classed as an in-group preference, but we'll go with that definition. Okay, why is that bad? Because when people call people racist, they say it's disgusting, it's vile. These are just describing words. They're not saying why it's actually bad. Why is treating one group different than another inherently bad? You know, so if you dig down, it's inherently bad, they would say, because treating one group different from another could lead to violence. You know, it could lead to one group being violent to another group. Now this is the big whole point of this video. So in effect, racism is bad because it may lead to violence. You know, all that summed up. It's bad because it may lead to one group committing violence to another group. May. Now, how mad is it that as a society, our ultimate hullabaloo taboo that you get cancelled from everything for, in effect, is racism? And why is that bad? You can't just say something's bad. It's bad because it may lead to one group committing violence to another. But how mad is it that that has become the ultimate evil over actual violence? And that's why I say we're living in clown world. Vikram Digwa committed actual violence on Henry Nowak, but he knew if he said the magic word of racism, which, as we've just discussed in the video, is only bad in itself because racism may lead to violence. Yet the racism that may lead to violence is considered worse than actual violence. That's why I say we're living in a clown world, guys. And the only other person I've heard sort of describe this in a far more eloquent way than myself is Carl Benjamin from the Lotus Eaters. You know, you can debate a lot of things about this case, but what you can't debate is that Vikram knew that this, the way society views racism, the power he had by using that word. Now, after this case, there needs to be a serious look, I believe, into in what world have we got it that something that may cause racism is considered worse. Something that may lead to violence is worse than actual violence. What if it doesn't lead to violence? It's just thoughts. You know, it's crazy, guys. I'm not saying racism is a good thing, by the way, before anyone goes, oh my God, you racist. I'm just saying, in what crazy world have we got it that something is considered this ultimate evil when it may be thoughts in someone's head? It may not lead to anything worse than a poor young lad being stabbed to death and the police not giving him first aid treatment because of racism. Insane. So yeah, I hope that this case, as sad as it is, makes the judiciary and the powers that be seriously look into what they consider to be actual bad things, you know, things that actually need punishing. Because like I said, in this crazy clown world where we're putting things that may cause, you know, injury over actual people causing injury, it's insane.